Hello, welcome to the KNS podcast. I am your host, Eli. Today we are in Bryce Canyon City, Utah at brycecon. I'm with two guys that I've known for quite a while and I consider them good friends. First off, I got Trevor.
Hey.
And then I have Mace today.
Good to meet you.
Oh. No. So today we're going to talk about the convention we're at, and we're going to explain what it is and what are we doing and why here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at brycecon. Brycecon is a board gaming convention that is hosted during this time. We're recording today on day, I think, 3?
Two.
Day
yes.
2. Day 2 of the event. And so far, I've quite enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, same. I've enjoyed it. We've tried out a bunch of new games, which is always what I like to do at these kind of conventions.
Yeah, this is my third game boarding convention. I've been to 2 in Layton, Utah, and this is my third one in this city. And this city.
Well, actually, isn't this the 4th annual brycecon?
Yeah, this is the 4th annual brycecon. And coming up in March is the 10th annual SaltCon.
Yes, good old SaltCon.
Which is quite shocking. It's 10 years old.
Right?
Yes.
Some of these conventions, I'm quite impressed that they're actually lasting this long.
Oh, yeah. I have to, yeah.
You wouldn't think it with the other bigger cons like Comic-Con, VidCon, and all the others, but board games certainly do have a presence, even if their audiences are fairly mixed
And far in between.
Yes.
So overall, what do you guys give this con?
You know, I do like the smaller size, at least compared to SaltCon. I've been enjoying that. Now, I do enjoy SaltCon with its larger sizes since you can interact with more people, but I really do like that there's kind of a smaller crowd for once.
Mace, how do you feel about it?
I'm very pleased, actually. The smaller sizes really help damp down on a problem that I have with SaltCon, and that's just simply with the crowds. You can't enjoy the games as much if you can't hear the people right next to you.
That's true.
That's very true. To me, I find it very interesting that they pick this venue. Like, they pick Bryce City. Like, no offense, it's a great convention, but literally the closest town with reasonable food, is 21 miles away.
Although, I have to admit, I kind of actually like being this far away. I mean, it's just, you get really nice scenery. It's a lot less quiet, or it's a lot more quiet, I should say.
Yeah, because it's near a national park, so...
Yeah. And it's an off-season as well.
Yeah, it's where everything decides to close down for the off-season. I think our closest place... Our only fast food is Subway.
That's true.
I can't complain. Like, the nearest McDonald's is 50 miles away, so... So when you think about it, we are in a remote area where no one would think of, oh, this is a board gaming.
Yeah, it's an interesting place or location for a board gaming convention, but you know what? It's been enjoyable. It's just a nice change of scenery coming out here.
Particularly since we mostly live in fairly urban areas that are completely overtaken. One benefit of being all the way out here, the drivers are less likely to be idiots.
Yeah, and there's a lot less vehicles as well.
So. Yeah, so it's kind of nice. You don't hear all the
the
cars moving and all that. The one thing I found that was very interesting was that some of the people in the town didn't even know about the convention.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when we were at the Family Dollar that we were buying groceries at, I told her that we were at this game boarding convention, and she had no idea this thing existed.
Really?
Had no idea this thing was happening 21 miles away from her.
Well, then again, it's only 250 people, so...
Yeah, but the thing is that I would feel like the town would be, like, known about it.
That's true.
Like, because everyone goes there for food, unless you're willing to spend $25 on a buffet for dinner.
I know, right?
The prices around here are fairly inflated compared to the urban.
That's true.
Well, since it's the off season, they have to find a way to make a profit.
That's true.
And this is like the only time where probably getting the venue for this convention was super cheap.
Oh yeah.
I bet it was dirt cheap to get this convention hall.
Yeah.
And it's basically the whole place. Like, you get the swimming pool, everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And 2 floors of just board games, pretty much.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
Yeah.
The collection is smaller.
That's true. That's
It
true.
is very smaller, but you know majority of the games. Like, you've seen them before. At SaltCon, it was so hard to get some of the new games that you wanted to play because it's like there's 1,000+ people.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a lot of people. Like, I just went to a convention for anime, and I had 3,000+ people show up,
Jeez.
and they had a gaming room. And there was tournaments and all that for, like, Super Smash Brothers and all that. And there were lines for, like, 2 hours. Like, backup signups to play. And I'm like, this is insane.
And it's nice that we don't really have to deal with massive lines of people, and it's really easy to get people to play with you as well. Since it's a smaller group of people, it just feels easier to approach people, if you know what I mean.
Fairly, very casual environment,
Yeah.
which is very welcoming.
Yeah.
I like it. I really do like the casual environment, and it really sets the mood for the gaming. So it's like not like aggressive. Like at SaltCon, it was just very. I like SaltCon, but sometimes try to get a group together. It was a little bit like, I don't know how this is gonna go. And then there was here. I haven't seen a lot of Kickstarter games, which
true.
It kind of is a little bit nicer. That it's just for like board gaming sake. You're playing games that you've known. Kickstarter, it's a great thing. It's a great idea, great thing that we have on the internet. But when you see these guys that don't have a Kickstarter, they're just made a game up. It's like, I don't want to argue with you in 2 hours and say, this rule, this is the reason why, and I made this rule. And it's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's a really different environment, and I think because of the small size, we also avoid a lot of business interests, which certainly helps.
That's true.
There is no vendors.
Yeah.
There were legit no sellers at this one.
Which is kind of nice. I mean, it really focuses more on just, hey, we're here just to play games.
Yeah, I like that. The thing I wish that like someone would do is probably get like a few vendors out here so we could maybe like the Gravity Dice guys or something like that, because they do have a lot of scheduled D&D events.
That's true.
But those Gravity Dice were so expensive last year.
I know, right?
No, a D20 was like $70.
Man.
Recently looking on their prices for a full set is $120.
Is that for the full 7 die set?
Yes.
Man.
For every set. So for each
See,
dice that you could get.
See, that's insane to me.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
You're telling me those Gravity Dice are worth $120? I want to see how much you're spending on production.
Actually, the production costs for high precision dice is actually strangely high because there isn't a large manufacturing base for it.
Yeah, because he's a locally owned guy, so I understand why it somewhat can be expensive, but he needs to realize he needs to cut a deal with some of these people.
It's a little bit varied. Gamers like fancy things, so metal dice are a huge attraction. I can't tell
That's true.
how many times I've gotten, hey, these are really nice dice, and that's really important. That really makes it so that you really like, hey, if I'm gonna get some really nice dice, you'd go back again. It is that kind of mindset, even despite the high prices.
Like for me, I bought 5 dice from the first year that I saw them, and they charged me $25. And I'm like, okay, that's reasonable for these types of dice. The next year they went, okay, for 5 dice, it's $80. And I'm like, wow, holy crap.
There is a bit of avarice there.
Yeah, and I asked why such a high price gouge, and he's like, what do you mean? Last year I bought 5 from you for $25. Why such a price? And he's like, well, we've changed manufacturers. And I'm like, then shouldn't it be the same price or a little more, not $60 more?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't give me an answer for it, and he just told me the prices for all the items, and he had like dysfunctional dice and the ones that weren't perfectly balanced, and those were $15 a piece.
It's a little bit different. There's a lot of, I would definitely say there's some avarice playing in there, but then again, it's nice dice. So it's really for elective items, particularly fun items that we just enjoy. One person who would pay $80 won't be the same person who pays $15 for an item.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's some folks I'm sure everyone knows that will gladly drop $300-$400 on a new case, a new bag, or something for their hobby or what they enjoy doing in life.
Yeah.
So it's really varied.
So I did want to ask though, what do you guys think of the hotel that they're hosting it in? Do you like the area, or do you like the location they decided to host brycecon at?
Okay, for me personally, I like it. I like the quietness of it. I kind of wish I just really wish there was more options because like the subway here closes at 7.
Yes.
So you're limited to either bringing your own food, but you can't cook your own food because there's no kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
There's no kitchens. You have a bathroom sink and another sink in the shower area.
Well, you have a microwave.
Oh yeah, you have a microwave. We just saw a gentleman outside our door about a couple hours ago that was just cooking on a camp stove.
That's true. That's also an option.
Yeah, but when you go to these events, you expect to just find the local place and buy something.
Yeah.
Like they have a general store, which is like take a normal priced item that you find in your local store and add about $1.50, $2 to it, and that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Because they're taking the locals they're giving the locals the option of, hey, these people are going to be not wanting to travel a lot and price gouging.
Well, and also, I mean, probably getting resources out here, such as bread, food, and whatnot, it's going to cost a lot more money than delivering it to an
it would be
city.
really, really hard to get.
Yeah.
And I understand that. It's just sometimes I wish it was a little bit of a closer venue to it.
That's true.
Because it's an hour away from the highway.
Yeah.
It's an hour, which is in most people's minds like, how can you be an hour away from the highway? I live naturally 45 minutes away from the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So but I'm in a big enough area where there's no price gouging.
That's true.
It really can vary. Say you go to like Alaska, which my father went to once on a fishing trip. The price of common goods and even milk was $8 for 1.5 gallon. So extreme prices, just due to difficulty. So I'm sure that factors and pretty majorly in, because this is, if I would to say, has the same kind of remoteness feel of a place like that.
But I really do like the quietness of it. I really do like the scenery. It's actually a really nice area. Like, if you don't want to go board game, you can just go and take a nice walk.
That's true.
It's quiet enough where you can just go take a nice walk and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to be interrupted. And in this area, I am very surprised about cats.
That's
Oh,
true.
yes.
There's been a lot of cats.
We have found extremes amounts of like cats like around. We probably have seen 5 to 7 cats.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just in the last 36 to 48 hours. And I'm like, this is an area where you wouldn't see cats. Why do everyone love cats here?
So many cats that it scared our dear friend Trevor.
Yeah, just keep climbing out of the trash bins and kind of spooked me a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of a moment.
Yeah.
So,
no, sorry.
No, you go.
Okay. I was just gonna wonder. So, is this your first time being here at Bryce Canyon, or at least in this area?
For me, yes. I've never actually traveled to this area.
Okay. How about you?
Same here for me. First time definitely being in this kind of remote area. It's nice seeing a part of our state in general that you don't normally see, that isn't crowded and currently muddy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in areas where it's very remote, very excluded from the world. But in Utah, this is my first time actually being in an area where it's like here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you, Trevor? You said you've been here a few times, right?
Yes, I came here. What was it, 6 months ago? I want to say.
Okay.
And yeah, I went and hiked through Bryce Canyon. It's a beautiful place. I really like this. I really wish you could actually go into the park at this time of the year, because I think it'd be really cool to see Bryce Canyon but covered in snow.
Oh yeah, that would actually be really nice. That'd be very beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, with the event, what are some games that have like piqued your interest when we've played them?
So this one game, what was it, Viceroy?
Yeah, Viceroy.
Yes. Now I like, is that a new game? Because I haven't really heard of it that much.
I've never heard of it personally, but so the main point of Viceroy is you have to build these towers, and like these tiers of like your army. You're basically a ruler, and you're trying to build your army to be the best.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you need to build a pyramid.
Yeah, pyramids for your group, and once all the people have been taken out in your stack that you have, your big stack for the game, then you have to count up your points and everything.
It's a very interesting mix of political and a strategy.
Yes, and I liked the
What?
I completely blanked. The mechanics of the game, where they have the auction, where you gotta like pretty much bet for your card that you want,
Yeah.
and then you have to place it down. And yeah, I just like it's just a really fun game. Once you actually start getting into it, it's cool. Like you pull combos to get more points as you build your tower.
And surprisingly, like when we were playing, Mace was saying that he thought he wasn't going to be winning, but then in the beginning he actually took the lead.
Yeah.
When we were counting points up, he actually had the lead to start with, and then by the end, you actually came out second.
Yeah.
Somehow, even despite having the smallest pyramid of the three.
But it's the fact that with Trevor's play style, he went for build the tower as fast as you can.
Which was a mistake.
Me, I went for that first level. I literally went for the first level, then I worked on the second level, and then I only put 1/3 level, and the most you can go is 5 levels, which is a lot of money to give up in tokens in the game.
Yeah.
It's a considerable amount of resources. I would definitely play that again. And I
Oh
would
yeah.
suggest it for anyone who wants to have an interesting political / strategy.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that game. It was very surprisingly good.
I liked it. One game I always like, it's a tradition I always do when I come to a board game convention, I have to find it and I have to play it, Boss Monsters.
Yes.
So Boss Monsters is a card game where the object of the game is you're a monster, a villain, basically, in a dungeon, and you build your dungeon up to stop the heroes from coming through. The winner of the game, there's coins. There's the heroes, and then there's the like ultra heroes or whatever, the
superheroes.
Superheroes, the major ones. The heroes have 1 coin, the other ones have 2 coins. You have to get 10 coins altogether to win the game.
I think they're actually souls and not coins.
Oh,
but,
souls.
Yeah.
It looks like coal.
Yeah, it
coins.
does. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could call it gold, and we'd
Yeah.
still not be that.
Yeah,
far
but
off.
and then if you lose, the way to lose is the game. They have like these blood drips on the card,
Yes.
yes,
and if you get 5 of them, you lose.
Yes.
yes,
That means you're dead.
described as wounds. Apparently, the hero beating up your monster, which is supposedly you.
So I always like that one because it's a quick game. It's about a 20-30 minute game.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to teach someone new, it's about 40 minutes, which isn't bad. I actually really do enjoy it. They've made small expansions to the game. They have the first one and the second one now.
Yes.
So there's a lot of game.
It's definitely very enjoyable, and some of the boss monsters are extremely memorable.
Oh yeah, and it's also kind of like the last game. It's also kind of a combination game where you just pull combos with your cards, make really strong dungeons.
Yeah, and the one thing that I like is that if you have the highest experience card, you get to go first the whole time.
Yes.
But the other people are like, okay, that's a disadvantage towards me because I have to stop them.
Yes.
So that's how the strategy comes in. There's cards there everywhere. You can block people.
Yeah, and it's nice because you can influence other people's dungeons as you can destroy some of the rooms or maybe block some of their abilities.
Or change some of the rooms where it's like you put a card on top of it where you flip it over and it's actually a benefit or not.
Or take the hero that was supposed to go through your dungeon and send it through another person's.
That happened quite a bit.
Yes.
And I really do enjoy that. I find that game very fascinating. I've been playing that since I did SaltCon my first year.
Yeah.
Every year I go and I play it, and I love it. It's one of those games where I really do enjoy it. They're actually doing a raffle here for like many games, and Boss Monsters is actually one of them.
Yes, and that's another thing that I like about having this small venue is since they're doing this raffle system where if you're playing games every hour they will come by and give you a ticket that you can put in these cups they'll have a raffle at the end of the weekend, which then you have a chance to win a game. And having this small venue is really nice because it gives you a good chance to actually win something.
So the max people here is 250, and if you get a ticket an hour, you have, let's see, you got about what? They only do like 18 tickets throughout the day because you start from like 8 a.m. to like midnight.
Yes.
So it's about it's 16 hours. So you get 16 tickets a day. You get 48 if you think about it through the whole weekend. But some people go home.
Yeah.
So you don't get all 250 people there to face you.
That's true.
Win against.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a way better odd than like what SaltCon does. SaltCon, you get a number on your badge, same as here. You get a number on your badge, but you don't get raffles at SaltCon. You just, if you played the game, you get entered in their computer for the drawing.
See, and that's another feature that I like about SaltCon and this is the play to win system. So they have a set amount of games that they just have there. So you play the game and then you write down your badge number, and then it's pretty much put into a raffle. So at the end of the weekend, they do the raffle, and if they draw your number, you get the game for playing it.
Yeah, I really do like that. It's a really cool concept. And it really shows that they care about the community, where it's like, I want people to actually come back and enjoy the experience.
Yes.
And
As so far my experience is right now, I would definitely come back.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah,
Same.
I would come back.
I have been enjoying this a
but
lot.
I would plan completely different than what we did.
That's true.
I'd make
Definitely on the meal plans, but
Yes.
I think that's the most sticking point that we've had about
Yes.
this.
Yeah, the meal plan was the one thing that bothered me, and it's the fact that if I come again, I'm not gonna ever eat at that diner thing. I would honestly, I was kind of disappointed today on the breakfast. I was really
It was all right. I mean, my main issue was the hash browns. I like my hash browns to be crispy, and they weren't. So
I like my hash browns to be warm.
really, they weren't warm for you.
No, mine were cold.
Really?
Man, I managed to get the best out of that then. I managed to have a very delicious stack of pancakes.
That's good.
See, that's always nice.
They were quite delicious. I was quite impressed with the breakfast. I'm afraid to hear that you didn't have such a good one.
Well, it was the fact that I feel like they were just trying to rush it because it was an hour away until breakfast was done, and they were just pushing it out.
That's true.
And I don't like that type of system where it's like because where we're from, there's a place called Angie's. They'll make it all day.
Yeah.
They'll make breakfast all day. I don't care. Like, it's 9:00 at night, can I get an omelet? Yeah, let's just get you an omelet. Can I get an extra side of hash browns? Yes.
Well,
Thank you.
at the buffet though, don't we get 10% off for actually coming to the event or convention?
Yeah, but the thing was is that we didn't, like, even with the meal, we didn't even get 10% off, and I was wearing my badge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much influence the con has on the venue.
That's true.
It may just simply be a lack of communication.
Yeah, and I'm
Perhaps.
hoping Subway's open tomorrow. I'm really hoping, because I might stop and see if Subway's open.
Okay.
Just to see if I can get, like, a 6-inch or something.
Well, and I'm kind of excited. I mean, this is only day 2. We still have tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. And we don't leave till Monday.
That's true.
Full day. And another game that came up that was a lot of fun was the haunted house game that we played.
What was it? It was Haunted House. No,
On
Betrayal
on Baker? No, like on
So if you know the Betrayal of the D&D version, Betrayal of,
like
I forget the name right now.
I want to say it's like Betrayal on the Haunted House on a Hill, something like that.
yeah, something like that, or like Baker's Hill. It's a fairly long name, but it was
Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
Yes,
There
okay,
we
that's
go.
what it is.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, I had to look it up. But this game, really, I was very impressed.
Yeah.
I was actually very impressed how well it was played. It was very well designed. I liked the structure of it. And it was actually interactive. Our first time playing the gameplay, they said it was like 60 to 90 minutes. We played for 3 hours.
Yeah.
just as a bit of description of the game. You're entering a haunted house and you're exploring rooms as you go. You're each of like 4 people. And then this massive event called the Haunt happens. And this happens after you enter a couple of rooms called the Omen rooms. They're pretty scary.
Yeah, and if with the omens, they give you some special thing, but then after each omen, you have to roll dice that have a blank, a 1, and a 2.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't equal the amount of omens that have been played on the field, then the haunt starts.
Yes, and the haunt completely changes the game.
Yeah, the haunt completely changes the game. They have booklets to tell you what happens. In this version, in this game, we got to, there's like 11 or 12 omens.
Yes.
We got to 10.
Yeah.
We got to 10 omens, and the guy who said he's played it before in the group that we were in, he said that it was literally the longest he's ever gone without going into the haunt.
Yes.
Something that was particularly interesting is the amount of replayability that game has in particular, and its cousin. it just the amount of haunts that you can possibly get and how soon they can start. So as your characters are running around, you can maybe find items. And since this one is particularly horror themed, every item description is like dripping in atmosphere of horrific events, scary things. So when the haunt finally happened for us, we got a witch, an indestructible witch.
That was wow.
Yeah, I remember she teleported into the room that I was in and then insta-killed me. So that was fun.
Yeah, I got killed by the betrayed, the
Oh.
one who betrayed us, Flash, that the character's name.
So, little forewarning: when the haunt happens, maybe one of the characters betrays you in an epic fashion and helps the monster try to kill you,
Or it can be everyone. Or,
That's true.
Or it can, like...
or some massive event happens. It's normally not a good
Yeah,
thing.
but overall, that game was incredibly good. I
Oh, yes.
really enjoyed the experience and everything. They have the other game that's basically exactly like it, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, and I honestly enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
It was not in my taste of gameplay.
Although, I did prefer the first one as well, but I have to admit, the style of gameplay, it's a really fun exploration game.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like, it was surprising that when we went through the first game, the horror one, it was like we went through almost every room.
Yeah.
And then in the Baldur's Gate one, it was like we went through the streets, the house, the crypt, and finding out the crypt, we didn't explore it that much in the 2 games we played on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many still in the
yes.
stack, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, I feel like you just need to start there and just go through it and let someone just go meander up top.
The amount of replayability in both games is quite impressive.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that's a really good selling point for both those games, too. It's like every game you do is going to be different.
Ever so slightly.
See, board games in general need to have a replayability.
Yeah.
It cannot just be a one-time game.
Yeah.
Because it's like video games, because we've all played video games before. It's that replayability is really nice to have. You don't
Yeah.
want to drop $60 on a game where there's no replayability.
I think we definitely know of a few games who happen to be so linear that by the end, you never pick it up ever again.
Yeah.
I have a few games like that. It's kind of it's like watching a movie and it's like the ending's supposed to surprise you, but then it's a one-time film, and it's like, yeah, that's not going to be rewatchable.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the movie Inside Man, I really enjoy that film, but if you know the ending, it's like, oh, it's not exciting anymore. There's no excitement to it.
Replayability really, really is a key feature, and I think it should appear more in pretty much all forms of media. It probably doesn't work in movies, but at least in games and board games.
Mm-hmm.
Could you name a board game that besides some of the ones that we played that you've played in your life that actually has really good replayability?
Settlers of Catan.
Settlers of Catan.
I love me some Settlers, man.
That game, I grew up as a child playing it with Ben Cook.
Yes.
Yeah, his family owned all the games, so I used to go over to his house and go, hey, he's like, hey, let's play some Settlers. I'm like, no, I lose all the time.
Dude.
Then I beat him once, and I flipped on him. I was like, F you, F you, F you. He's like, why are you so... We've played this game for 5 years, and I've lost every freaking time. So now I get a victory? Screw you. We're done. We're not playing anymore. I haven't played since.
Other games that I have played that have just been great. Personal proponent of X-Wing Miniatures.
Yes, that is a good game.
X-Wing Miniatures. I've played it a couple times. I've seen it on a live stream here and there. I've seen some competitions live streams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because since I watch Twitch a lot
Yeah.
in some of my off time, I'll look up random stuff, and like the top featuring things are competitions, and X-Wing Miniatures had 6,000 people watching.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, this is quiet. Super quiet gameplay.
Just a little bit of background. X-Wing Miniatures is when you literally take the Star Wars ships of yesteryear and from the movies and from some of the games, so you really can pilot Luke Skywalker, and you do what is essentially is a slow motion dogfight.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
I'm probably a Rebellion player. Trevor, my friend.
You dirty rebel scum.
Imperials.
Yeah, crush you under my Imperial boot.
Don't worry. Hope never dies.
Seen in the latest film. So,
Yes.
but okay. So, what got you guys interested in X-wing miniatures? Like, how did you guys explain how you got into it? Because you guys are avid. Like, you guys. Okay, he brought a tote. Mace brought a tote. Trevor, he brought his collection.
Yeah, I probably bought like 3 cardboard boxes and 2.
And these cardboard
carry
boxes ain't
cases.
small. And he has the standalone game Armada with us.
Yes.
With us as well.
Yes.
And there's another game called Rebellion, but he got the Armada one because it's the Imperial version.
Yeah, well, actually, it's the epic ship version.
Epic ship version.
It doesn't have the same rules as X-Wing miniatures.
Yeah.
It's a lot different, but it's still pretty fun.
So, to put it in perspective, Armada is for when epic, gigantic ships clash.
Like Star Destroyers and Mon Calamari cruisers.
Yes. X-Wing miniatures is when dogfights happen.
Yes.
And then if you want to go down one more, Imperial Assault is when the ground troops have at it. So
Yes.
Star Wars has a lot of really decent board games.
Yeah. And to go back to your previous question, my uncle actually got me into it back in, I think it was 2013.
Okay.
That's when he really showed me it and whatnot.
And then he got me into it, and I've never left.
Okay, so when you're telling someone about X-Wing miniatures, for the price point, is it the start?
Oh, man.
Would you recommend someone to start it, or would you recommend someone to actually watch how it's played first and actually take some time to learn, research it?
The base game is about $30, which
Yeah.
is not too bad.
And it comes with everything you need to start a game right off the bat, pretty
Right
much.
off the bat. So that's really nice. Everything else is pretty much expansions to that base set.
Yes. Although the money racks up very quickly.
Particularly on the expansions.
Yes.
So I would say immediately to any person who's just even vaguely interested, buying the base game does not hurt. And
Yeah.
it is a great time.
Yeah.
So the base game, so buying the base game is like buying a normal board game, and you just got to have someone else to play it with.
Pretty much.
Pretty
yeah.
much. It even does come with some scenario battles, which are pretty cool.
Yeah. Every expansion comes with its own scenarios that you can do in different battles. So that's a nice selling point as well.
And is this game updated a lot, or
Oh yeah.
All the time.
Oh yeah. Every couple
Every 6 months, I would say.
Yeah, it feels like there's a wave. I haven't been keeping track recently though, but
There's a new set of ships and new things and new ships and more expansions coming out every 6 months. And the ships are spoiled long before that, so you tend to know what's coming.
yeah. And just recently the last wave was from the new movie, Star Wars. So
Okay, that's not bad. So, I see you guys really enjoy it and all that. I just for the box set, what do you get in the box set?
So depends on which box set you buy. There's now 2.
yes, well, 2 base games, I guess.
So if you're going to go for the old one, you get 1 X-Wing T65 X-Wing, the old original from the original 3 classic, 2 TIE Fighters.
Yes.
You get a couple player cards. You get Biggs Dart Glider. You get RTD2. Trevor's not very fond.
No. Yeah, that stupid droid.
That's against the card, not the actual
Yeah.
droid. But you get all you need, not only in the base game, but the new base kit has got Poe Dameron in the T-70 X-Wing and 2 TIE FO fighters, which are the new TIE fighters from the movies.
Yes.
And these things aren't they're not little just mannequin figurines. These are actually detailed figurines.
Oh yeah,
that you
yeah,
get.
they are very high quality.
Yeah,
I like
these
them.
are This is quality build. It's not like you're sitting there going, "Oh, I have to do it myself." You can probably buy it and do it yourself, painting it all.
Oh yes,
Perhaps.
there is some people who do custom paints for
Yeah.
X-wings, and they're extremely cool.
Yeah.
But when you get the set, you see the quality.
Oh yeah.
For the price.
And the main reason I really like the game too is you can customize your entire squadron because it comes with the player cards and then you have your own upgrade cards, which then you can customize your fleet to whatever kind of build you want to do.
and each expansion adds to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So overall, how much have you both spent?
Oh man, I'm more of embarrassed to say that number.
Could you give me a rough estimate? I don't want like exactly. Just give me give me a price range.
For me, it would be about $800 or so.
I don't know.
Nearly 1,000.
Well, let's see. So.
But you've been playing for 5 years.
Yes.
So that's not a bad thing. If you're telling me that the starting pack's $30 and the average expansion's like 15 to 30, you're buying pretty good.
I'd say, well, I wouldn't say we'd spend 800. I think it'd be about 400, probably like the high limit. That's what I would say for both of us.
It can vary depending on the ships you buy.
That's true.
Like your CR90 was what, $100?
Yes.
Okay.
And same was the Raider as well, $100.
So the bigger the model ship, the more expensive they get.
And there are 3 tiers of ships. So you have your small ships, which are just starfighters. You have large ships such as the Millennium Falcon, the Fire Spray, Lambada class shuttles.
For those who are particularly into the Star Wars or the after the shuttles, we also got the IG 2000s.
Yes. The aggressors.
The aggressors.
And what's nice too is so they have a lot of stuff from canon, and they also have stuff from Legends as well, which is nice too. The old canon, pretty much.
The old canon.
Yeah.
That's nice. So there's a wide variety that you can get out of this game.
Oh yeah.
And the replayability, the field can change dramatically.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Because
no 2 battles are ever the
same. So there's no board game for this. It's just you have to find a flat playing surface.
Pretty
correct?
much. I mean, obviously there's standards to like tournament play and whatnot, but really you can do it on whatever surface you want, which is nice. You can completely customize the battlefield to however you want it to be.
That's actually really convenient. I've looked into X-Wing just to see how you guys like it and why, and I can see why. It's very diverse and it's very open. It's not like it's just one board game where you're sitting there and just doing that one thing. You can change the environment. You can put as many freaking asteroids or obstacles you want. It sounds really fascinating.
The one major disadvantage I would put in front of this is the setup for it is considerable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like you guys did a 1v1 ship battle today, and that was what, an hour setup?
Unfortunately, it's not a very quick game, and the setup is like what, 20?
Yeah, the setup would have been a lot faster if we didn't have to dig things out of all the boxes.
The problem is the more expansions you get, unless you're particularly well organized.
Yeah, it turns into a mess.
If you're very detail oriented and very organizable, you could probably get this set up pretty
Oh
quick.
yeah. I'm just
like
sloppy.
5-10 minutes if you're really organized, but it's really hard.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to buy carrying cases and organizing things. But
there are some custom cases available, but they're pretty, unfortunately,
Expensive.
they land on the expensive side.
So for board gaming, in reality, this is the truth about it. It's expensive.
yeah,
Yes.
Board gaming, I see some reasons why it's expensive, but sometimes the games are just mind-blowingly expensive. Like, you could be dropping $80 on a board game that you play maybe 3 times because you don't get the people.
That's very true. In fact, I have a friend of mine, a roommate now, who bought a game, actually the official Dark Souls board game. It's $120 retail, and I've seen him play it maybe twice. It is an excellent game, very well put together, with some very beautiful things that go into it. But
It's
hard finding dedicated groups, particularly nowadays.
Yeah, in this generation where it's all video games.
Although I must say, I think board games have kind of had a resurgence, it feels like.
Yeah.
But what else do you play a lot of, Mace?
Other than X-Wing miniatures, I play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it's a good game. I've kind of dabbled in it. I have like 2 decks, but
I played with drunk people at 4 in the morning of Magic the Gathering, and these guys actually were very nerdy about it and were really, really talking about it. And I'm like, you guys are drunk at 4 in the morning, and I'm still able to beat your booty. So let's talk about it. I'm like, I've played Magic the Gathering, and I just don't own any cards.
Fortunately, it's not that hard. But it does tend to get pretty expensive, just kind of like everything else.
That's true.
So a box for an average, you just, I'm getting into it, you buy the latest set kind of box, tends to be around $89 to $90. It can go up, of course, but a lot of the really good stuff tends to be way more expensive.
And depending on the card value of it too, because I remember walking into the game store that were nearby Heebie-Jeebies, and I seen a card there that's like $400.
Oh yes, that is not even the slightest. There are many formats in it, but one of them, the lands, the base cards that you need to play are nearly like $3,000. I've played with such a deck on loan from a person who owns it. They get a little ridiculous, but there are people who make genuine livings off of it and actually invest in the cards, or like, hey, they see the new set that's coming out, they think, hey, I'm going to spec buy this. What card from this set is going to be really popular? They get a whole bunch of them and they sit on them and sell them slowly once the prices are high. Because at the end of the day, it is all cardboard, but it's really dang fun cardboard.
Yeah. And it's nice too because the game's really easy to set up. It's really easy to get into.
And it's really pretty quick.
Yeah.
And no two games are the same, really.
That's true.
Not really.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of like common plays unless you play the same commonality of cards.
It depends on your format.
Yeah.
In Magic, there's a little bit less replay. I would say there's a lot you can do, but depending on which format you're more limited.
I see.
Because you can't get the craziest stuff in the Magic unless you get it in the right format.
Yeah.
So for people jumping into it, I would recommend just not even buying a new box. You buy just a simple, like one of those starter Planeswalker decks. They're not as horrible as people make them sound, even though they're pretty bad. And then you just buy some cards to edge it up in basic tournament play, and there you got standard. And if you keep the cards around and you keep playing them, you can jump into other formats eventually. People are always willing to trade, so the bigger your collection grows, the more you can trade. And as long as you always trade for equivalent value, you're not really losing out.
Yeah.
I've personally made like $500 trades between like a whole bunch of cards between people, and it's always been a semi-friendly relationship. But a lot of it depends on your local area.
Yeah, it really does depend on your local area, because where Trevor lives, he doesn't have the option of going to the local game shops.
No, not where I live at the moment, no.
No, but for us, we have, 3 in the valley? We have Toys and Trikes, Heebie-Jeebies, and Game Grid.
Game Grid, plus any online venues.
That's true.
And Salt Lake, which isn't ridiculously far away.
No, Salt Lake's like an hour and a half away from for us.
Is there any board games that you're really into, Eli, or?
Well, Boss Monsters is one of the ones I like a lot. Growing up, I never really got to have the chance to play board games a lot, so I played all the common games like Scrabble, Clue, Monopoly. But with Ben, I grew up playing board games. Without him, I would never actually enjoyed the games I've played. Like, I go over to his brother's house now with him, and sometimes we play a board game. And sometimes we actually enjoy it. Like, we play a lot of zombie survival ones, but, he bought a game that was like $70, and it was for, like, the vampire hunt. You have to hunt this vampire. I forget the name of it, but we got like 2 hours into it, and it's like, we got to stop. We still have another 2 hours to go.
I definitely say that board games, to the right person, can be more fun than even like hours on a video game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so comparatively, what do you prefer, actually? Do you prefer a board game, or do you prefer a video game?
Personally, I prefer video games. I know how stupid that sounds, but I only just prefer it's really fast to boot up in, right? There's no real much setup, but I will definitely say I really do enjoy a good board game, though. Like, whether it be card game or a tabletop game, I don't really care. If I'm in the mood for it and I get the right people, it's really fun.
For me, it's a little bit of a mixture. I do like how fast games are, relatively, but unfortunately, video games are fairly scripted when you get down to it.
That's true.
They don't have extreme amounts of, oh, this is new, this is this one thing that I haven't discovered because you haven't been there yet. It's more of an ongoing discovery, and you can't really backtrace. I prefer board games for people who are just getting into just having fun. I think they're a little bit more reliable in the long run than a video game. Not that they're not fun, and I want everyone to know that I play both extremely avidly.
Yeah. So for me, I do prefer video games because one of the problems is that for me, I don't have a lot of people to play with.
That's true.
That's the thing. Like in my daily life, a lot of the people I talk to, hang out with, converse with, and all that, they play video games. So a lot of my community is video games. Like I get online and I have 60 to 70 people that I talk to. And in the board gaming community, you, Mace, Trevor, and a couple other guys.
Yeah.
And that's really the extent I got. And it's like, it's great. And like I made a couple new friends this weekend at the con, and they go to game grids and the heebie-jeebies, and they go to all these ones. So I'm like, okay. And the communities keep growing. But for me right now, video gaming, it's one of those things where I don't need another person. If I want to have another person, I can. But with board gaming, you do have to have another person. And it kind of sucks that you have to have another person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wish there were games that you could actually, like, try a one-person version of it so that you can probably face the table or something, or face the game.
I know there's a few of them out there, but they are very far and few in between.
That's true. Most games require other people to play with.
Minimum 2.
Yeah.
But most card games require 2, so it's like, okay, I understand that. That's not bad. You just gotta go find one person. But like that Haunting on the Hill, that to make it fun, you need 4 people.
Yeah, that's like a party game.
That's a party game. You need 4 people minimum.
And it's really hard to do that because you gotta match everybody's schedules, and you gotta pick a day, and then all this other stuff.
I think the end experience is worth it.
Oh, yes.
In the very end, but the setup for board games is considerably more. But I'm really intrigued to see where they go from here, because video games may be going like following board games eventually. So we have seen examples of this in like bridge simulators recently and other things that are party-based, really fun games.
Dark Souls.
Yes.
No, like we're seeing more video games coming into the board game community. We're seeing like Star Trek. We're seeing Dark Souls.
Yes.
We're seeing Star Wars. Star Wars has video games and all that, and board games. We're seeing a lot of the communities bringing board games to the environment because there is a chunk of the community out there who play avidly board games. They don't play just strict video games or strict board games. There's a variety of them.
Yes.
So I see in this situation we're in, where it's like, it's 2018. We're seeing more video games coming out. Video games have hit $1 billion. They're in the $1 billion industry for the last 10 years, and board games, these conventions are keeping them alive. I feel like they're really showing that these types of games, because in reality there are people out there who see $50 for a board game and they're like, that's ridiculous, but they're willing to drop $60 for a new video game because they can play it by themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. As much as I like video games, I think that board games are better for just raw development. I'd rather have my kids play board games than video games. Not that I would want them to miss out, but I would have it want to be in that order, because I think board games give an intrinsic value that you can't get yet from a video game.
See, and one thing that I like is in board gaming, Dungeons and Dragons. That's one game that I actually find very fascinating.
I love Dungeons and Dragons. That is such an awesome game.
It's a very big variety. You can do a lot. You can do homebrewed versions. You can do a lot of different world developments. Like, I've heard of Dark Souls, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, all these games. And it's been proven that if kids start playing those at a young age, their creativity and their imagination actually grow, and they actually become very more intelligent than the students who don't do it.
Yeah. And that's the main reason I like D&D too, is just you can do literally whatever you want.
Yeah, it's an open world. It's an open book. If you can imagine it, you can do it.
Pretty much.
Definitely an advantage that I think that board games have over video games.
Yeah.
Just even the slight scripting of video games to make it work, it can sometimes diminish it. It's not a truly open world, but your imagination is boundless.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, your imagination is...
It's limited by your imagination.
Yeah, D&D is just limited to that. And the thing I hate about it is that the groups, like, the one downside to board games, it's always going to be the groups.
Yes.
You're never going to have the perfect combination. If you want to have a perfect group, you have to set it up. You have to meet weekly. You have to be consistent.
And that's my main issue with big groups of D&D. We've tried that before. It just always ends up with, we'll maybe do 1 or 2 sessions, and then it's like, oh, I can't come this time, and then we have to stop because we can't get this one person to come because we can't continue without them.
You have to have a dedicated group for such a big game.
Yeah.
You have to have, like, the best size to me is 3 people and a DM.
And what was it? One of our very first D&D games, that was the longest game we ever did. We probably did like 20, 25 sessions.
Yeah, we did 20, 25 sessions in the summer because it was our first year out of high school.
Yeah. And we were like, hey, you know what? Because I had the books. I had the 4th edition books. You know, granted, 4th edition isn't the best, but whatever.
But
That's what we had on hand.
What we learned, and we went through like 4 quest lines. We went through so much. We leveled up a lot.
Oh, yeah. And it just feels with the majority of the D&D games we've been doing recently, it's maybe, like I said, 1 or 2 sessions, and then it's like, oh, this person's got to go do this. And like you just barely said, I would like to keep the group size to about 3 people. Like, maybe 3 people and a DM at most.
If we bring 4 or more, you have to, like, really be, like, you have to get all these people, like, dedicated to it, which, to me, it's like, it's not going to work because some people are like, I can't come in.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I got work. I got family stuff. I got important things to do. It's like, okay, we'll set your character aside. It's like, no, I want to be in the story. And it's like, well, we need to continue. It's like, well, can you just start a new one? And I'm like, no, that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like with D&D, there has to be a way to where you can have a character still there and earning like half experience for not.
Yeah.
Like they're there for the story. The DM, like, they need to have like something in the book where a DM can take over a character and give half experience, because the thing is that half the experience is being there. So that's where you get your experience. Mm-hmm. Your character still being in the story, you don't follow any of the dialogue or anything, or like the DM can put in the dialogue for you. But that you should have a penalty. You need a penalty. If you're going to guarantee these people, you need a penalty.
Yeah.
And I find that very fascinating. Like, hey, so I didn't show up for the last 2 weeks. I didn't have a really solid reason except family stuff. But I wasn't able to come. Did my character level up at all? And it's like, yeah, your character leveled up twice, while the other guys leveled up 4 times because you were gone. It's like, okay, catch me up on the story. Catch me up on what's happening. And then you give a recap. You help them figure it out. I'm just tired of trying to restart stories.
Yeah.
And, like, trying to, like, learn new things and build new characters. Because it takes a whole session for characters.
Yeah.
And some groups I went with, they're like, okay, you got to build your character and you have to bring your finished character. If you have questions about your character, we'll help you then.
Yes.
But you have to have majority of it done.
Yeah.
And that's some things about board gaming is that you have to be prepared to play. You can't just sit there and go, oh, I just want to play a random game.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you can do that, like with Scrabble, Life, Monopoly, one of those generic games. But Armada, you got the haunted house on the hill, you get Betrayal Baldur's Gate.
Any of the cultist Cthulhu games that are massive.
Yeah.
Warhammer.
Yeah.
Warhammer's the dedication.
Yes.
That is a true-on dedication of painting.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Your detailing work is going to be...
I learned how to play board games and became an artist all in the same time.
Yay!
They're just great. Many advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
The disadvantages, they weigh the same as the advantages. Video gaming, the thing I like the most is the solo playability. That's really it. Because it's like, you got to entertain yourself sometimes. And like, like I watch anime. It's great. But sometimes you got to stop watching it and go, okay, I need to play something. I need to keep my brain going. I'm falling asleep. and I go play a video game, and sometimes it's one player, sometimes it's multiplayer with a bunch of guys, and sometimes it isn't. It's like just a co-op game.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on what you're in the mood for, what's in front of you, and what your advantages are.
Yeah.
In the whole game boarding situation.
I would say a note to any aspiring game developer: the more complicated your rules are, the less likely people will understand.
See, that's the thing in this generation. You have to keep it simple.
Unfortunately, so. I mean, you can have a complicated game,
But you're not gonna see the profit that you want.
You're only going to see dedicated people stick with your game.
yes, and some games that's all they need, and that's just great.
It's just the KISS principle.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
I'm all for simplified gameplay, but I'm also all for complicated ones. A contradiction.
Because the complicated ones, you feel accomplished once you actually figured it out and actually played it. It's really a nice feeling once you know how to play it and actually do it.
Oh yeah, Viceroy from earlier was an example of this. The early instructions did not make a ton of sense.
But once you start,
once you got it, you're like, oh, this is easy. Got it.
Oh yeah.
yeah, this
got
was actually very easy. So overall, out of this whole experience, from a scale of 1 to 10, and I want you to compare like your last SaltCon to this convention, what would you rate each one? Because we've all been to SaltCon, and now we've all experienced brycecon.
Yes.
So I want to hear your SaltCons first, because SaltCon is a more older one, and this one is the newest one.
I have to say, I'd probably give a SaltCon a 7, this one an 8. I do enjoy SaltCon a lot, don't get me wrong. It's just a lot of people. Like, it's just gotten huge as of late.
Yeah, it's gotten huge in the last few years.
Yeah, and I just like this one because it's a smaller venue. That's my main point with this, is I like how small this is.
For me, it has a lot to do with the venue as well, and also kind of like the friendly atmosphere. In SaltCon, due to the location, you are in a city, which lends all the typical urban advantages. But here, it's so remote, it's almost like, yeah, I'm just playing with my friends. I'm just having a great time. You're not worried about anything else, and you're just separated to just have fun.
Yeah, it helps get away from like just life. It kind of being out here remote kind of just helps get that separation. You're right.
So I would give Bryce a nice 8 and Salt a 7. Both enjoyable, both whatever you get to, either one is great, but the atmosphere here definitely ticks it up a notch for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I give SaltCon a 6. Due to the fact of it depends on the group you go with. It really does. It really depends on the group and how everyone's feeling. And it was really big. It's one of those things where it's like, oh boy, this is getting a little extreme.
Look at all these people here.
Yeah.
Oh boy, there's like 80 different stalls we have to somehow visit in one day. And play like 80 different versions of a game and listen to them just.
It starts to feel like a rush.
It feels like Salt Lake Comic-Con.
Yeah.
A little. And I don't know if I would enjoy going to Comic-Con now as much as I would a couple years ago.
Same.
It was a little smaller.
See, now they had changed the name recently because they lost their lawsuit with San Diego, but now every other convention in the United States is filing a lawsuit towards San Diego because there's over 174 different conventions that use Comic-Con.
Wow.
So now I think it's called the Salt Lake Comic Convention or FanX. So I'm still going to call it Salt Lake Comic-Con. I don't care. But with brycecon, I give it an 8 as well because one, it's remote, it's quiet, it's peaceful. You're there to game. You're not there to see other things in the city. You're not there. Ooh, I'm gonna try this new food. I'm gonna enjoy this. No, you have to plan ahead. We as a group planned horribly for the environment.
Yes, we did.
But our first year, this is our first year.
Yeah.
So I understood that. I thought I was going to be spending a lot of money. I think I've mainly have spent it on food and actually no, gas.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Gas and somewhat food. If I brought like if I brought a bunch of snacks and bought a bunch of food, I think it would have been a way better experience. Like, I would have probably gotten Subway twice throughout the whole trip, and maybe the pizza shop, but I would have had enough food to like actually feed myself.
Yeah.
On the food, though, that is local to here. What do you guys think about it? I heard that you said that breakfast was disappointing. What did you think about lunch today?
It was pretty good.
Well,
the pizza place is pretty good.
Well, in this town called Panwich, there was a place called Sea Stop Pizza, and surprisingly, I was quite shocked how small the small was on the pizza for the price. I was quite shocked how small it was, but they were saying like it was like $9. I'm like, okay. I thought when we saw yours was a medium, so we're like, okay, a 10-inch can't be that small. And then they brought out the one that they brought, and I'm like, oh, this is like, okay,
Baby's first pizza.
yeah, baby's first pizza. But overall, the taste was great. It was a really good pizza. Personally, I've been around the country and I've had some better pizza back east and all that, but this pizza out here, it's pretty good for where it's at.
Yeah, being so remote.
Yeah, it's really good, and it looks like there's not a lot of people here, so these guys have to keep a job, so they got to make it good.
That's true. That's true. And it's been really nice too, especially coming out here. I mean, this is only our second day. We still have tomorrow as well. Which
Yeah.
is nice.
Whole day.
See if we can win anything from the raffles, right?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping we win something from the raffle.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so much.
Boss Monsters!
Boss Monsters. Well, I think we're gonna call it for today.
Okay.
I really do appreciate you guys doing this with me
Yes,
out in this remote land of Bryce Canyon City.
In a hotel room.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Yes.
Thank you for joining. Don't forget, this is gonna be on this channel, and we're gonna try to do more things with the channel as we progress. So thank you for watching. Please hit a like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I always like the subscribes. It shows that people do care.
Yes. Subscriptions are very nice.
They're very nice to me because it shows that people are actually having some interest in what we're talking about, and we can keep the content going. Please show that like. It really does help. Leave a comment on what you guys want us to talk about. What topic do you want to bring up in these conversations? Because I'm willing to bring people in and try to get a conversation started, a debate started. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. It's always nice to have some outside input.
Outside input is always nice. So thanks again for listening. Have a great rest of your week, and always have a good day.